Welcome to my tutorial on how to utilize the newest tool from Sugar Snippets called the Cake Silhouettes. Basically, this was developed in order to speed up my process of sketching and to make my tiers more precise and equal on both sides. You want everything to just line up perfectly. So a little bit about what you have in your kit is a ruler, a pencil, and then you actually have 3 different templates. This silhouette is round, square, and hexagon, and they do work together and interchange very nicely. So the first thing that you need to do is create a guideline. It's a vertical guideline. This is actually how I started all of my sketches prior to developing this tool. And then I would actually, mark 3 inches one way, 3 inches the other, make dots, slide down, make dots, and then connect my lines and create ovals or squares, whatever I needed to do. So this literally has just helped save me so much time and effort when it comes to sketching. So once you have your guideline set, you actually want to grab whichever shape you're going to utilize. In this case, we're going to do round. And the template, the silhouette, actually has a vertical line through the middle. And you're going to line that up so that it corresponds with the line you just sketched. So as you can see here, and it may not be completely obvious on film, but when you have your templates in hand, I promise you'll see it. But this white line covers the darker line below it. So you just want to make sure that that is, perfectly aligned so that your dimensions on either side of your template are correct as well. So just double check that each time you go to add a tier. Each of these spaces are also indicative of your height. So each space represents 1 inch. And each of these tiers on the silhouette correspond with a 6-inch round, 8, all the way through to 16 in graduating sizes every 2 inches. So this is nice because you can literally draw exactly what you're going to be creating. So let's just start by doing let's do a 6-inch tall cake. So this is 6 inches. Just want to find your lines, do your lines on both sides. For the 6-inch round, you have the ability to add in the back of your tier as well. And I'll show you a trick for making sure that you get the back of your tier should you start with a different size. But this slot here is going to help guide you as far as your front edge of each of your tiers. So if I put my pencil in and go across, that actually gives me the front edge of my tier. I'm gonna go back to where I was just so you can see what's next. So now that I have my top and my sides, I'm gonna scoot the silhouette up into the point where that line just peeks through inside of this particular slot. Again, make sure your silhouette is lined up with your guide, and then you're gonna do just that line across. That's gonna give me the bottom edge of my 6-inch. I'm gonna continue with an 8 by making the front top edge start on the back edge there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just keep it even, I suppose. We'll get more fun as we move into some other shapes. So before I move, I just make sure I did my top and bottom edges here. Again, just slide straight up until you can just see your pencil marks, and that's going to give you your bottom edge, okay? So you have already created a 2-tier cake in just a matter of seconds. It goes very quick once you get used to using the silhouettes. I'm just going to line things back up. I want to show you something here. This is another little trick that you can utilize. So I'm going to move on to my 10. So do my front edge. I'm actually going to make a 10-inch tall tier. Now, this line right here, That indicates 7 inches because there is a 1-inch space in between where the slot is and where the back of that cake actually meets. What I'm gonna do is hold my pencil here and I'm just gonna count. So this is 1, 2, and 3. So I'm just gonna slide 1, 2, 3. That's gonna actually give me a full 10-inch tier now. So if you ever need to do more than a 7 or 8-inch cake, you can add and you can double this, so you could get up to a 16-inch cake, or just continue to add if you were doing taller cakes than that. I mean, that'd be one massive tier, but know that it's doable. And then again, to get that bottom front edge of your cake, you just want to slide it up until you can see the pencil mark and do the bottom edge. So that's kind of an easy way just to add additional height if the template isn't tall enough for what you're sketching. And I want to show you, again, another trick. This is what makes this particular tool so fun, is there's a lot of different ways to utilize it to get what you want. So we have a 6, an 8, and a 10. And I'm going to jump to a 14-inch round here and kind of tell you how to line things up. So of course, always using the center line. But what you'll see is this outside edge of my 14 doesn't connect to my 10-inch. And that's okay. I'll show you a trick how to get there. But the important part is, in order to get the proper dimensions here, this corner of your cake and this corner have to line up. So you just want to make sure that there's like an imaginary line there that lines everything up for you, so that your dimensions from a 10-inch to a 14-inch look appropriate. So let's do a nice big 7-inch tall tier like that. I'm going to use the bottom of that slot in order to get the front top edge of my 14. Slide this up an inch in silhouette terms, that is. Use the top edge of that slot. That's going to give me my bottom edge of the 14. Now, we do have gaps here, and I would say before you add your decor, just leave them. Don't fuss with coming in and connecting all of your lines, because oftentimes decor will overlap over a front edge or even a bottom corner. And so you'll end up doing a lot of erasing and redrawing if you don't wait to fill in all these lines. So for instance, if I were to do a flower up here, I wouldn't have to erase that line. So I would never need to draw it in the first place. So, don't waste time doing that. But here's the trick. If you're going to be super precise, you're going to flip your silhouette over, find the 14, and you're just going to connect it right there. So this bottom, the bottom of this slot now is the same diameter as the 14. So just make sure that your lines are all set. And I'm just going to finish that connection so that I am super precise, so that you can make sure that you've got perfect edges and sides to all of your cakes. Now, here's the cool thing. If you're going to start with a 6, you already have your back edge involved. But if you're just going to do a 12-inch round, for instance, let's do that. Here's my 12. Slide up just a touch, slide back down because I forgot to do this edge. Now all I have to do is flip it over, line up my 12. Just make sure your guidelines are straight. I can see that my line is just off, so I'm gonna fix it and put it in. So now if I'm just doing a tier that's not my 6-inch, I'm starting with a 12-inch, for instance, then I can do my front and back edge and make it precise. So that's kind of the fun in this particular tool, is you don't need multiple items. You just have one tool that you can kind of play with and flip over and do whatever you need to do. So that's how you use the round. I will say that using the square and hexagon are very similar. There's some minor nuances just in basically how you're connecting some of your lines. So let's go ahead and get a square going. Sorry if my head's popping in and out of here. So you want to make sure you do your lines on the inside. I'm going to scooch up. So those kinds of little nuances are the same, just that little like, pencil didn't take. I'm going to give it a little click just to make sure it fits. So you just want to make sure that the corners of each of your slot as well as what you just drew match up. So in order to make that work. So let's keep going and just add one more tier here for the sake of being able to show you what's different about a square. It's not drastic. The hexagon is certainly a bit more complicated. Not complicated in the sense of like difficult, just one more step really. So here's the other thing. If you forget to add any of your lines, you can utilize the lines within your ruler the same way you utilize the center guideline on your silhouette. So you can come in and do these by hand again. I would do my decor first, then come in and finish these off so that it has the proper dimension and crisp corners. But again, don't do that until your final decor is finished. So that's the square. Same concept as a round. Again, you just might have to finish off your edges a little differently. As far as the hexagon is concerned, there's just a couple more lines. And what's nice about this template is it lines everything up for you, so you don't have to like do all the measuring yourself, but you do have to kind of go back in and just fix things up wherever you don't have decor. So I am literally just going to do the entire outline of this so you can kind of see how this comes together. So the first thing you need to do is the outline, and then you're going to do top line, bottom line. So this one, you only need one line, and then your vertical lines. This one, you're gonna do the top and the bottom. Vertical lines, top and bottom. Verticals, rearrange your fingers a little bit. And verticals. Whoop. If you move, just come back, realign it. It's totally fine. I just want to be able to show you what the hexagon looks like in its state of just using the silhouette as is. And so you can see that it's almost perfect. It gets you super, super close to all of those extra little lines.
And you can also flip the hexagon around to get the top line for your 6-inch. It works the same way as the round template does.
In other, other ways that you can do it is just adding in those pieces as you need to. So just like that. These are vertical lines. These are sort of that angled line. And then same thing goes for these vertical lines here. You know, this is kind of giving you the front of the 3 sides of a hexagon. There's 6 in total, but we're seeing kind of the front pieces, just like that. And so we're just making sure that all of those lines connect. And this one is also a vertical. So you just want to be able to make sure that everything is crisp and clean and finished off. Makes it super easy to complete your cake. Now, if you wanted to complete this bottom portion and make sure it's exact, you can come in and complete it just by utilizing your other tier. You just have to slide things a little bit. Easier, just in my opinion, to connect. And who knows, maybe there's a flower or something there. So now let me show you one last item, which is just connecting round, square, and hexagon together. So again, starting with your line, and then add your round. I'm going to do a round, a hexagon, and then a square, just for the sake of showing you how they go together. So top, front edge, slide up so you can see them, bottom edge, switch to a hexagon. So I'm going to do a 6 round, a 9 hexagon. So the key here is this lower, this slot, the top edge of this slot is going to line up with the bottom edge of the round. And so as if we were going to do, the round tier, but we're not. We're going to let that line stays round, but we'll come in and do the bottom edge, and then of course our sides. Don't forget your inside lines. And then this bottom line as well. Okay, so that's our hexagon. We'll have to connect the dots a little bit there. And then when we come in with the square, we're in a similar situation. So we have a 6, a 9, and if we want to do a 12 or even a 14, the 14 is going to look a little better there. So what I'm going to do is line up the top edge of this slot with the bottom edge of my sketch previously. Make sure my guideline is lined up. And then the bottom edge of the slot, the sides of the square, and the bottom edge of the cake, which happens to be the top edge of the slot. So then you get your square. And again, I'm leaving all these gaps because I'm going to end up putting decor in certain places anyway. And where I don't put decor, then I can come in with my ruler and just finish off any of those lines as need be. So this is just a really easy way to be able to get the silhouette of our cake. Basically, we're just getting the general look, the size, the shape, and the dimensions of whatever cake we're going to create for our client. Just makes it an easy process to get started. So thank you so much for watching this tutorial on the cake silhouettes. I will be making additional tutorials to show you how to freehand some of your decorations. Things like ribbons, bows, ruffles, geometric shapes, lace, all of those things that we would normally decorate our cakes with. I'm going to show you how to create them freehand.
If you'd like to purchase your own cake silhouettes, head over to sugarsnippets.com, because if you can dream it, you should sketch it, then cake it.